While I'm from Dominica, I will speak on behalf of the Caribbean. And to say that tourism remains the number one economic driver of the entire Caribbean. In some cases, there are countries which tourism contributes over 80% of its GDP, of its revenue. So one can appreciate the significance of tourism to the Caribbean. Uh, Following COVID, we have seen a rebound in tourism arrivals in the Caribbean. I think we are on an upward trajectory in terms of increasing tourist arrivals in the Caribbean. We offer a wide range of very unique experiences spanning the entire Caribbean region. And of course, we are politically stable, we are a safe destination, we welcome all cultures and nationalities. As a matter of fact, as a tourist in the Caribbean, you are treated way better than we treat ourselves. That's the level of regard that we have for visitors to the Caribbean. And so tourism numbers are increasing. Obviously, there's a lot more to be done in terms of investments that we need, infrastructure.
Yes, we are probably going to talk about
Sure.
later.
Thank you.
So Mr. Dlamini, how did Eswatini benefited from that trend? How did your country benefited from the trend of the tourism being in growth all over the world?
Thank you very much, Excellencies, distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from the Kingdom of Eswatini, and in Eswatini, tourism is no longer a periphery industry. It's now in the core of revenue generation for the country. And we've returned to and actually exceeded pre-COVID numbers in that we've actually now exceeded the numbers of tourists that visited the country. And it contributes significantly to our revenue, to our GDP. I think you would know that within tourism itself, there will be multiple streams. It contributes to, it supports the hospitality industry, it supports small enterprises, and also the natural environment wherein we are able to actually preserve the environment through tourism. So it has really contributed significantly in Eswatini.
Thank you. His Excellency Kalbuadi, so you have multiple portfolio. So you have a general or global view on how your country behave. How important is tourism for your country?
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank UAE for the warm hospitality for me and my delegation. I'm from Timor-Leste, we call East Timor. We are located in between Indonesia and Australia. As an island, we are the newest country in this century. We got our independence since 2002. So we are on the way and 24 years to rebuild our country. We have been colonized by Portugal almost 450 years, and we've been invaded by Indonesia for 25 years. So we have a multicultural. We are an island. We have 1.4 million of people, very small country. But our priority is infrastructure, basic infrastructure. Yeah. Yes, we have a very good potential for tourism, and we have blue and green as a potential. I do think that this is where only a few countries left in the world. Such a beautiful beach that we have, no pollution at all. It's all blue between the sky and the sea. And also we have a multicultural. Our language, we have our own national language is Tetum, and we use Portuguese as our national language, but we do use English and Bahasa Indonesia as our working language. So looking ahead on how we see about tourism, our blue economy policy 2025 and 2035 will guide the sustainable use of our seas and while promoting economic growth. It's aimed to create employment and opportunity, to reduce poverty through initiatives such as marine parks and establishment of an education and marine resource center. Tourism is our national character and national diversification strategy. Timor-Leste is the center of the Coral Triangle. Its rich marine environment lies at the heart of what an archipel of the world's richest natural biodiversity of over 1,200 different kinds of fish and more than 400 coral species.
Okay, so you understand that you needed to make an important introduction of what we should know about your country. Okay, let us allow us to go to the next point. Generally, some small countries, small in terms of size, obviously, are seen as weak, but many are leading the way in climate action, sustainable tourism, and community development. What can you say about it?
Well, I will not characterize the Caribbean as being weak. I think we have some vulnerabilities and some challenges, some natural and some that are imposed on us from a geopolitical standpoint. But in terms of climate adaptation and climate resilience, the Caribbean really is a poster child of building resilience and adaptation against climate change. In Dominica's case, I mean, we have been impacted dramatically by several natural disasters, and we are building, we believe, the world's first climate resilient nation, involving a wide array of economic policies and programs and projects that would certainly mitigate against the impact of climate change and to place us in a better position for survival. And that is the case for the entire Caribbean. So while we're among the most vulnerable, but we do not spend our time crying to the developed world. We are doing things for ourselves and by ourselves, recognizing that the reality won't change anytime soon, but we have to ensure our survival. We have to ensure that we can create jobs and economic activity to generate wealth for our country so that we can provide the social services, education, healthcare, etc. So we are pressing on heavily from renewable energy, or environmental practices, or education policies, or health policies, or infrastructure. Also take into consideration the impact of climate change. The way that we go about promoting investments in tourism in the Caribbean, we're very careful not to overdo it in a sense, so that it could have a negative impact or add to the already challenging situation what that climate change has created. So while we recognize the dramatic importance of tourism to our economies, we are very deliberate in the Caribbean as to how we go about ensuring that we get the kind of investments and the growth in tourism, not doing so at the detriment of the environment, but in unison, to complement each other, so both can coexist and we can all see the benefit of this. Because what we want to ensure as developing countries and small island states is that it should never be recorded that we in the Caribbean are contributors to climate change. We're ensuring that our carbon footprint is close to zero, if not zero, in many of our countries. And all our practices are this. So we're really an example. So when we speak from the Caribbean standpoint on climate change, we do so with authority, we do so with authenticity, and we do so with a high regard of respect that no one can challenge us to say, well, you're talking about climate change, but you're doing this and you're doing that. No. People say about us, we're the major victims of climate change. And these are the things that the Caribbean islands are doing to mitigate against climate change and to build greater resilience in our economies.
Okay, thank you. Prime Minister Dlamini, sustainable tourism, how do you deal with that in Eswatini?
Thank you. First of all, we understand the vulnerabilities that we have to climate change. In Eswatini, we have included mitigation measures in our nationally determined contribution. We were actually the first country to integrate disaster risk management in the NDC, and we were happy to even to get an award for that. But this is just for our own protection, and so we integrate disaster risk management into our policies. I can give an example that because tourism is also anchored in our beautiful scenery and also in conservation of wildlife and biodiversity, so we have to ensure that we protect that nature that we have so that it can be seen not only by the current generation but also by future generations. As my colleague here has mentioned, we have not contributed to the current challenge of climate change. We often, suffer some of the impacts, but we are mitigating that. Thank you.
So, Excellency, how do you deal with the risk of climate change?
Well, we're quite lucky. Climate change is the world issue and also a world concern. We are far away from all the conflict, but we do sometimes get a challenge when you see Indonesia. Sometimes they have a climate change, natural disaster, including Australia. Sometimes we're quite lucky that we haven't have got this situation, but sometimes very very small matter has happened. How we maintain and how we protect, we try to socialize. For one example, our motto from our country, our icon is, "My sea is my Timor-Leste." How we protect the sea and how we protect the land. And the other side, we also see, we have one of our product called dyes, which is like silk. We say, "My silk is my Timor-Leste." And we try to socialize, start from very beginning, from the school, primary school, students, and university, community, and so on. Our ambition is not very big because we only depend on gas and oil at this moment for our budget. But we also don't have any big ambition to build a big hotel, 5-star, something like that. But we maintain Timor-Leste as Timor-Leste. We concentrate to build tourism for community tourism. So, at the same time, we protect the environment. But we also follow and we attain wherever the environment or any climate change forum, and we learn from day to day. It doesn't matter that there will be not happen any climate change or sometime a disaster in our country. We do understand that this may be happen. It happens some very small disaster, but we do have to very careful and contribute. At least we don't push or we don't spoil more than what happened.
Okay.
We try to protect our land and also our neighbor and region.
Okay, Honorable Skerrit, we are talking about sustainability, eco-friendly tourism, but can tourism support long-term growth? Because we need growth, we need jobs, we need money to develop our countries.
Well, the reality is, in Dominica's case, we promote mainly ecotourism, tourism that is centered around the environment, the protection of the environment, utilizing what the Lord has given to us for the greater good of our people, and of course, bringing in revenues and creating jobs. So I'll give you a quick background to Dominica. long before the issue of climate change, long before the issue of sustainable development and protection of the environment, we've been known for this. More than 45% of our country is protected by law as natural forest reserve. We have established marine reserves in fishing communities. It is prohibited to fish in a marine reserve. We just created the world's first sperm whale reserve, protected sperm whale reserve by act of parliament. So tourism and the environment go hand in hand, and I think this is the case for all of the Caribbean countries, recognizing the importance of the beach not only for tourism but for the local population. This is how we use the beach and the river and the sea for our fishing and our sustenance. Our rivers, recognize the importance of rivers not for tourism, but for our own survival. Access to fresh water, access for water for irrigation in our plants, and ensuring that the environment remain cool and so forth. And so when you talk about sustainable development and you talk about tourism relating to the environment, I believe the Caribbean is a leader in that respect. And of course, Dominica has had centuries of evidence of protecting the environment and Mother Earth and ensuring that we do everything for its conservation, for its preservation, so that future generations can enjoy that which we are enjoying ourselves. And that is why we really are stewards of the earth.
Thank you, Prime Minister. How to deal with ecotourism and growth?
Eswatini has one of the strongest legislation in wildlife conservation, and I've already mentioned as well that we mitigate the impacts of climate change. But I do want to mention that Eswatini is known for its cultural experience. If you visit Eswatini, you will come to know that we don't stage our culture for tourists. The culture is part of us, and so when you come and you experience our culture, you really notice that that's how we live as a people. And so within our natural grasslands, within our game parks, we integrate our culture with how we manage the stocking levels. I'll give you an example. Right now, we are noticing that the stocking levels for our fowl have to be reduced of the wildlife so that it can be sustainable. And to do that, we have a cultural event that actually is linked to reducing the stocking rate within, our game parks. And that integration of culture with tourism is exceptional, because people come not only to experience, not only to see the wildlife, but also to see culture interfacing with wildlife management. I think that's one offer that we have in the kingdom.
Thanks a lot.
And of course, you have His Majesty the King as major attraction.
Thank you. In fact,
Thanks a lot. So, His Excellency, you will have the final word for this debate.
I would like to stress here that we are quite lucky. We have a very good neighbor, like Australia and Indonesia. As you all know, last year on 26th of October, Timor-Leste became a full member of ASEAN, which provide 670 million of people market and 4 trillion market. We are just only 1.4 million people we join with them. Now, that's opportunities and also challenges. But how we protect our country, especially in combined tourism and environment. For example, our sea, until now, we never give any license to anyone to exploit our fish. We know that sea, the area is very rich, but we are study the feasibility study quite deeply, and to protect our environment. At least we can contribute a small part as a small country to this world and also to our region.